Hey everyone, my name is Travis True, and I'm going to show you how to build a project for Mac and iOS using my own video game engine called the Catalyst Game Engine. Now, just keep in mind that it's still in the pre-alpha states, so there's going to be a lot of features that are either missing or they're partially implemented. So at this point, let's get into it. First thing, you're going to need actually you're going to need three things before we get into it. First thing, you're going to need a Mac. Second thing is once you have that Mac, go to the Mac App Store and download Xcode. It's going to look like this down here once you have it downloaded and installed. This is your development environment where we're going to be building the code. This is what I support. It also comes stock with the Mac and iOS software development kits, which is what we're going to need on top of the Catalyst Game Engine to get our games up and running. The third requirement is that you're also going to need to go to my website, truesoftent.com. I'll put it in the description below, and download the Catalyst Game Engine package. Once you get that, you're going to want to extract it somewhere, and you're going to get this folder that's going to look like this over here, Catalyst CG. We'll get to that in a little bit. What we want to do now is, of course, I've got Xcode code already started. Go to create a new Xcode project, and we're going to start off with a Mac OS project first. So make sure you're under Applications here, and then go to Cocoa Application. Once you've done that, let's just create a test project name. I like to call mine like test CGE because I've been testing this like for days. And then, of course, App Store category. You can change this later on, but hey, let's just call it action game. I like action games, so we'll go with that. Next thing, go to Next. At this point, we also need to plug it into some sort of directory on your computer. I have my Catalyst Game Engine, or I've got a ton of projects, so I like to sort them by platform. I'm going to put mine under Mac. And then, all right, so we've got quite a few files going on over here on the side. Cool news is we're not going to need most of them, so let's start highlighting a couple. All the files highlighted, we're actually going to delete them. So I just press the delete key on my keyboard, and then we're actually going to move it to the trash. At this point, you're going to have two files left. It's going to end with a .plist or a property list and your little PCH config file over here. So I've got two Finder windows open right now. One that points to my Catalyst Game Engine installation path, which is at the root of my user directory you'll see here. It's kind of nice in case you ever have to get into it with like a terminal or something like that if you just have it at your user directory. And it's just a bunch of text files, so there's nothing too much going on there. Now also, I'm going to get to my project. In this file Finder folder, I have test CGE right here, test CGE, and of course here are my project files. This en.lproj, it had some files in it, but we already deleted them. We don't need that folder, so let's just trash that. And now we're going to start adding files from the Catalyst Game Engine into our project. First thing we're going to do is we are literally going to copy files from Catalyst Game Engine into our project folder. This will be our entry point code. It's kind of like a template to get you up and running, and then you can modify it and start adding to it and actually make a game out of it. In order to do that, we go to Catalyst CG, go to Extensions, and then over to Common. This entire common folder can be copied, like so. Now, we go to our project folder down here, and we're going to paste that folder. Now that we have a copy safely in our own project, we're going to get rid of these two files. This is for the iPad and iOS version, but we're just working on the Mac right now, so we're going to delete those, unnecessary. And then we're going to drag and drop this file, we're going to drag and drop this folder into our project here. And let's create a few groups too, just to kind of get everything up and running here. I'm going to create another, actually we can leave common the way it is now. Let's add another group called engine. And then at this point what we're going to do is we're going to go over here, back into our Catalyst Game Engine area, and we're going to go to source, and we're going to drag source under engine. And then hit finish. Now, the reason I created engine and then source, it's just a personal preference. I actually like to add more stuff under engine as I'm going on, like engine extensions and things like that. We're going to add one more other thing too here in a second. But now that we have the engine folder, that's like all the source code and a couple like dependency libraries that are built from source in here. Kind of important. And now we also need to bring in the extensions for the Mac operating system, the Mac platform. The Mac extensions over here. We're going to drag it under engine again. And then let's rename this folder from Mac to extensions, like so. Now that we have that set up, let's go into our project build settings. So click on your project target up here. Mine's called Catalyst, or excuse me, Test CGE up here. And then it's going to change the main area here. And these tabs going across, we're going to select build settings. And then type in this little search area, type in C++. It's the first thing we're going to knock out. We have to get rid of this LLVM compiler. It's mainly for Objective-C code, and we're actually going to change that to the standard C++ library. And then come back up here and then type in preprocessors. And then of course preprocessor macros. You can set macros for debug and release. We're going to create a new macro for each of them. And it's going to be catalyst_Mac. Make sure it's in all caps, like I have right here, for both the debug and also the release. There. Now that we have that set, another thing too, in order to load textures in this library, I actually use FreeImage. It's a pretty nice library, and it's one of the only ones I can get to compile with the Catalyst game engine for the longest time. So we have to get that. We have to get the header path included for that too. So type in header in the search area up here, and then eventually you're going to get header search paths right here. Go over a little bit and double click anywhere, after that no, beyond that no area above, and then you're going to get this little popover. Go back up into the engine, your window with engine here, and then you're going to find a library called, a folder called libraries, and then FreeImage is going to be inside of it. Just drag FreeImage into there. And we actually don't have to worry about setting this to recursive. It's really not necessary the way it's set up now. Now that we have that, we're almost done. The last part is we have to add in the frameworks required. So go back into FreeImage up here in Finder, and you're going to notice libfreeimage.a. This is actually going to be, this is the static library built for the Mac operating system. I think it'll actually run on stripped down Unix as well. So I'm going to drag that into my frameworks folder here. You can actually drag it into any group in here and it will work just fine, but I like to put under frameworks because, consistency purposes. Next thing, there are the OpenGL and OpenAL files we're going to need to load up to handle graphics processing and of course audio processing for sound effects. In order to find the correct directory for your operating system, well, just find a framework already there. Cocoa.framework is already there, so I'm going to right click on it, or two-finger click if you're on a MacBook Pro, or control click if you're on, using the Mighty Mouse and it doesn't have the alternate click set up. Anyway, right click on it and then go down to Show in Finder. It's going to show you the correct directory there. And what we're going is we're going to look down for the O's, and let's see the O's right here. We need OpenAL.framework and also OpenGL.framework. I selected both of them, and now I'm going to drag them in to frameworks. Now they're set up in here. At this point, it should run. I'm going to test it the way I like to test it. I do everything by keyboard shortcuts. To build it, Command B. Looks like it's building. Alright, we have ourselves a successful build for the Mac version of the Catalyst game engine. Let's check it out. Let's run it. And in order to run, you can either press this little button up here, or you can just press Command R. I press Command R all the time. It's my preferred way of doing it. Alright, so we got some text showing up. Hello, this is Sparta. It's instead of hello world like everyone else, I like to customize things a little bit. And also, if you start clicking with the mouse button anywhere inside the window, it's actually going to change it just random colors. And also, if you scroll on your mouse wheel, it'll actually dim the intensity or increase the intensity between 0 and 1. And that's your starting code. If you want to, also, if you're running Mac OS 10.7, which is Lion or Mountain Lion, you can also go into full screen mode at the top here, and it will put in top screen. I also have code which will resize the frame buffer. It will resize the way the scene processes everything, and it will like reformat menu code, such as the two labels I have here, hello, and then this is Sparta. And of course, you can switch between stuff too here. So let's get out of that. And that is the test to the Catalyst Game Engine on Mac. In my next tutorial, I'm actually going to cover how to run this on iOS. You're going to get the same exact results on, I'm going to do like an iPad build, but it should run fine on the iPhone. And yeah, and instead of scrolling to dim stuff, you would actually pinch in and out to get things to dim, to get the color to dim there. But yeah, check it out next video, guys.